YouTube decided I'm no longer allowed to use the music in my intro, so now, until I find another one, you're stuck with my voice.
What is up, guys? This is Linthio coming at you with a deck profile of my Spirits. Now, this is the brand new April the 1st ban list, and this is the deck that I took bar 2 changes to the locals, my old locals, and went X2 with it over 6 rounds of Swiss. So I'm going to go into deck profile. I'll include the sides that I did. I kind of threw it together last minute, so it is a bit poor, but you know, what can you do? So I'll go through some of the key important cards that kind of I feel that need to be spoken about, and others I'll just skip over that don't really. So for example, 3 Aratama, the main searcher is absolute boss. You want to open this as quick as possible, get it out, get searching, get rolling. So this card's amazing. The fact he's dark as well is just so good. So we play 3 of them. Then we have 2 Nikotama. I jumped down to 2 because I kept seeing Nikotama when I didn't want to, and I know that sounds strange. What I mean by that is I kept having multiple copies of it in my hand. It was clogging, and I really didn't like it. So I tested it at 2, and it worked really well. Like, I had the perfect consistency with it yesterday, and it was just so nice to have. So at 2, I think, is the way forward for me personally. So I'm keeping it at 2 until kind of, if it ever changes, that I feel it needs to go back to 3. But for now, because it's so searchable, 2. Then we have 2 Yaksha. Yaksha put in bare work the other day because it was just bouncing all that back row. When they had just one set, my kind of like opponents were just like, don't particularly want to waste it. So you just get in there and poke and do that 1-9. And that 1-9 is big because you just wear them down completely. And it was just so useful to have a monster that could just bounce their back row. The only one that obviously they couldn't bounce was Skill Drain, and that was a bit of a pain in the arse. But yeah, so Yaksha was really good. I really liked it at 2. Then we have 1 Ryatsu. Ryatsu was another kind of MVP of the day. He was just a boss in the fact that I normally set him to catch people off guard when I thought they were going to go for game, and it actually worked. So it was just all about reading the opponent and kind of seeing when I felt they were going to go, when they were going to go off. And I normally try to keep this as a surprise because no one really knows what they do. So it's good to have the element of kind of surprise there, the good old surprise factor. So yeah, it's really good. It was bouncing all those XYZs and all those synchros back to the extra deck, and just getting that 1-5 beat as well is just quite nice. Then we have the 1 Izami. Izami recycled the Nikotamas that if I did run out, I got Izami to then recycle, and it was completely fine. Like, Izami's just so useful. The fact you can set up your graveyard for Christia, you can set up your graveyard for BLS if you so want. It's just, it was just really useful. Stats aren't that great, but the 1-8 defense is quite nice. Then going into the 2 cards that basically murdered people all day. Dark Dust Spirit and Feng Hang. So, Feng Hang. I was talking to some people about this who play Spirits, and they say they don't run Feng Hang anymore because they feel that it's not as good because there's not that much back row and all this malarkey, and I couldn't disagree more. Feng Hang won me about 6 to 7 games. It's like, I'm not even joking, it was huge because obliterating that back row is a game changer, and if they can't stop it, they're in trouble because a 2-1 is pretty big as well. So I can normally beat over something, and Dark Dust Spirit just clears the field as well. So having these 2 is just so good, and you'll see card choices in the deck to kind of show that these were so easy to get out. Not only do I have Nikotamas, but I have 6 other cards I can combo with these, which you'll see soon. But yeah, these 2 were just amazing, and they will never go anywhere. They will always stay in the deck. Then I had 1 Yamato no Kami. I'm kind of very unsure about Yamato no Kami. I used it a couple of times, but sided it out quite a lot because it conflicted with side cards that I wanted to come in. And while the effect's good, and it's good to splash it, it was a bit meh. So I'm still going to keep it in because it's a good option to go into, because you can search for it with Aratama and then go straight into it. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as it is. Then we have the 2 boss monsters of the deck. We have BLS and Christia. Summoned BLS a couple of times. Christia was about 2 times, I think it was, throughout the day. but the option was there. It was good for Herald of Orange as well and all this. So yeah, these two were amazing. BLS, I have more darks in the deck now, so it's just really useful to have BLS. And yeah, too good, man. Then the absolute MVP of the day, the absolute one that won me a lot of games, and this is a brand new tech. Yeah, Ghost Shriek Jack Frost. I'm going to spend a bit of time to talk about this because I think it's warranted, because some people might be a bit confused why I'm playing it. Jack Frost's effect is basically when your opponent declares a direct attack, you can reveal a card, flip your opponent's monster face down, and then special summon this in face down defense position. Doesn't target. Very, very important thing to note. Doesn't target. And basically has a field day with Boujins. So, I put in 2 Jack Frost the night before because I was unsure of kind of what I needed. I knew I needed something to stop more battle, but I don't want to put in Gauze because it would conflict with my traps. Didn't want to put in Trag because I felt that it would just get mullered by all those back row. And I stumbled upon Jack Frost, completely forgot about it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a card. I originally had 2 in my in the actual deck at the tournament. I've recently bumped up to 3 just because of how well it performed. I was murdering those Yamatos all day, every day. Murdering those bears so they couldn't get their effects. Just everything, it was so good. And then it would go to my turn. More often than not, I'd do it on one of their last cards, flip, and then just go Dark Strike Fight, go into Dark Dust Spirit, or go into Feng Hang, and just absolutely muller them. So the amount of times that I flipped down a Yamato so he couldn't get his effects, flip down a Orpheon so I could actually kind of go off a little bit more. I'm not really affected by other swans at all, but there are some things that I need to utilize in high levels. But Jack Frost was just amazing, and I think 3 in the deck is actually perfect because you just don't have any monsters on the field normally. It's only the occasional boss monster you'll still have there, or the Exceed. But yeah, it was just so good, and it pissed so many people off. It was hilarious. And also the fact you could just creature swap it. And then the other pissing card off was Battle Fader. Battle Fader won me many, many, many games. The amount of people that overextended into the Battle Fader because they didn't expect it. They just completely forgot that I would have a Battle Fader. They would clear my back row and think they're through, drop the Battle Fader, drop the Dark Dust Spirit, just game from there on out. So Battle Fader was amazing all day. So really, really happy with those 2. And then the other amazing card was Herald of Orange. I kind of want to put this up to 3, but I think it will be a bit too much considering I don't have a whole deck of fairies. But Herald of Orange all day, just stopping every single monster. It was mainly because it combos so well with Aratama, and you might wonder why, because Aratama can search my fairies to make this live. So a lot of the time I'll search Nikotama if I've got this in hand, so next turn I can either go Aratama Aratama, sorry, or do a negate on their turn. So Herald of Orange was absolute boss, absolutely amazing all day. So, going into the spells, we have 3 Creature Swap. Creature Swap just pissed people off all day, every day, and always will, to be honest, because it doesn't target. So you would drop those Battle Faders or those Jack Frosts, or give them the Spirits and just take their best monsters. So yeah, Creature Swap was amazing, and at 3 it is a definite. Pot of Duality has never been so amazing in a deck before, in my opinion, as to this, because the amount of times you don't really need to special summon is just too good. It adds the consistency the deck needs. It just digs hard. You can just search so much on your first turn with this and Aratama, and I just think it's perfect. Like 3 of these is just amazing. So it will never be cut. 2 MST because there's back row in the format. I kind of wanted to put it up to 3, but I do have Feng Hang and Yaksha, so that's like 5 cards in the deck that deal with back row. So yeah, I was just kind of, well, 6 including Yamato no Kami. So I just kind of left it at 2, and it worked out alright. I just kind of wished I had 3 when I went up against Skill Drain decks, but it wasn't too much of a problem. Then we have the 1 Book of Moon, the DT Book of Moon that I absolutely love. I don't think you can really see it. But yeah, Book of Moon was just amazing because it allowed my plays to go off. Like Feng Hang, they'd Fiendish, you just go Buck, and they'd cry. So, and then next turn, if they didn't attack into it, you just flip up Feng Hang again and get the effect. But yeah, Book of Moon, amazing. The card is just so good and really underrated in my opinion. So I think that it should be running most decks, but alas. And then we have the one Dark Gold, as usual, it just puts in work. So the trap lineup is a little bit different from what I ran, only because I ran 2 Legacy of the Yatta, Legacy Yatta Garasu. I've now cut that for an extra Fiendish and an extra Jack Frost, because although it was nice, I only got the second draw off once in the day, and as best it is, it's just a draw and maybe an MST target, but I've cut it for now because I feel Jack Frost and the extra Fiendish is useful. So speaking of which, we have Fiendish. As I said, I think this is one of the best traps of the format, and it put work in. Simple as that, stopping those bears, Yamatos, all that, too good. Then we have 2 Deep Prison. Deep Prison didn't work very well in the matchups. I'm pretty sure that's just because I saw them at the wrong times. The card is still amazing, and I'm still keeping it in because it isn't a great card, but yeah, I didn't really have a great run with it. Then we have 1 Torrential Tribute. I've put Torrential Tribute back in now. Originally I didn't play it because I want my opponent to kind of commit to the field, but now that I have more kind of battle traps, or hand traps even, it kind of means that I'm just going to put it in and see how it goes. And it worked really well throughout the day. There was kind of a really, really harsh moment that I did. I Light Imprisoned and mirrored someone earlier who was playing Bougians. They summoned a 3rd monster, TTs, and they were just like, ban. Oh. So yeah, very mean. But yeah, so it's good. Then we have the 1 Bottomless. Bottomless is just amazing. Warning, put in work. It's still an amazing card. And then the final one is Mirror Force. No compulsory. I do feel I need to put compulsory back in, but for now it's not in here. Then going on to the extra, which is where the money was made. We have the 1 Exeter Knight. I finally have it. I got it yesterday, and it single-handedly murders an Evil Swarm player who had 3 back row and an Orpheon, and he couldn't stop it because he tried to Fiendish and I bucked, and he just cried. And then he didn't have any monsters in hand. He only had back row and settled the back row, and I did it again, and he didn't, and they were all bluffs. So yeah, it was great. Then 2 101s, keeping it at 2 because I go through these like no end. 3's too much, but 2 is a really good number. It's just so easy to make these and just steal your opponent's monsters, and oh, too good. 1 Maestroke. Maestroke's excellent. Card is very, very good, and I know that a lot of people say it's outclassed by 101, but they do different things. And the fact that you can, if you're scared, for me with Bougians, I'll always normally summon this because I'll flip the Yamato face down to avoid the Crane or Honest, and it just worked out really well. I did it multiple times yesterday, and it just worked well. The 1 Dagger Emerald, didn't go into it once, but it's there if I need it. Lava Chain, didn't go into it once, but I can stack stuff if I need it, say like BLS or the big boss monsters. The 1 Omega did go into it, and it won me a game. Star Liege didn't go into it, but it's just too good not to run. Cowboy, I went into it and just kind of sniped for a bit. Abyss Dweller, didn't play any Murmur, surprisingly, but if I did, this would have been one of the first things I'd go into. The 1 Black Supercorn, didn't use it, but hypothetically it's good. And Diamond Direwolf, again, didn't use it, but hypothetically it's good, so that's why it's in there. And then finally we have the Synchros. I only have 2 tuners now. I only have the Herald of Oranges, and I normally keep them in my hand, but I have these just in case because I actually can go into them with Yamato no Kami and just normal level 4. I'm probably going to cut these for other things. I'm not sure what, but I went into Scrap Dragon once and I went into Stardust once, and it really did help, but I don't know, I just think that there are probably other options that I could have done, but at that moment in time I went for them. So I realise this is 14 minutes now, so I'll keep it going, but I just do want to explain stuff. Then going on to the side, we have 2 Fossil Diner. Fossil Diner just single-handedly murdered people. 2 Maxi never sided in. Conflicts, I feel, with obviously with Fossil Diner, so I'm probably going to drop the Maxis, and yeah, because I just didn't side them in once. Then we have the removal, 1 Macro, 1 Defissure. They work completely fine in the deck. They don't hurt us at all. And yeah, I went up against Dark World, drew this second turn, and murdered him. So yeah, we played the Dark World dealing, I activated the Macro, and he cried. Just the one Mind Crush because I wanted to play it. I played it and called Yamato twice against someone, and also Crane, but it was alright, but it's just I wanted to try out other things instead of the standard Mind Crush plays. 2 Imperial Iron War, put in work, like a stupid amount of work, single-handedly absolutely raped my 2 Bujin matchups with this, and another card that you'll see in a minute. Debunks, I sided them in but didn't see them. Does obviously conflict with Imperial Iron War, but it just depends on what matchup I want to do. I feel that I'm probably going to cut these maybe, because although they are a good card, Imperial Iron War kind of does it better. Light Imprisoning Mirror made Bujin players cry. Didn't really put it in against anything else because there weren't many light things. And then 2 DNA Surgery that I did not use once, just in case I went up against a Prophecy matchup or something like that. Didn't use it once, so they're probably going to be cut. So yeah, my matchups were, first round was Mythic Ruler, where I got raped because he basically had all the outs as well as skill drain game 1 and game 2 in his opening hand, so that kind of didn't go well. He even said that he super sacked me. Game 2 was a Bujin player who also super sacked me, and in game 3 I drew terrible. I had the Light Imprisoning Mirror, but he already had an established board, and I kept drawing traps like Torrential and Bottomless. I was just like, well, this really isn't useful. So unfortunately got mullered by that. Then played an Evil Sworn, so I was X2 then. I was like, great. Kept the faith though, and then played Evil Sworn, 2-0'd them, absolutely murdered them. Then played Dark World, 2-0'd them. Then played another Bujin, 2-0'd him. No, 2-1'd him. And then the final one, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I 2-0'd him. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. But yeah, so that's the deck profile, guys, and that's kind of some of the changes I'm going to do. I'm still going to work